Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast at the Valero Open in San Antonio, Texas, we had a familiar Canadian face getting it done for the second time there. And of course, it is Masters Week. Cue the piano riff. We're getting you hyped up for all things Augusta, plus a good finish on the LPGA Tour in Los Angeles. We're tuned into some concerts that are getting streamed online by a certain artist and Tetris. And this week's guest is our friend and resident artist on the show, Linda Hartough, talking all things Augusta National, how she paints Augusta, her history with the course, and the beauty of it all. And it's all things Easter and Masters food when we always end with food. Passover coming your way as well. All of it brought to you by our new partner, Mike. We've got a new partner that we're going to be very excited to roll out in the coming weeks and months. It's our friends at Swing Juice. They make really great apparel. Check out swingjuice.com and learn all about the extensive list of wardrobes they have for different golfers. Everything from your casual polos to your nicest pants, golf and tacos, golf and pizza, golf and hip hop. All sorts of golf vibes from our friends at Swing Juice. So be sure to check out our content in the coming weeks and months and check out swingjuice.com as well. Looking forward to having them as a partner for the show. And again, check out swingjuice.com.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and Swing Juice, as well our newest friends. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, it's a tradition unlike any other. We'll get to it in a little bit and exactly what that tradition is. But first, it's the Valero Texas Open. It's that tradition of an event before the Masters. Let people go play, and if you win, you get to go. But you don't get to win the Masters because you can't win the Valero and then go win the Masters.
Yeah, you're very obsessed with that jinx factor where whoever wins the week before just simply can't do it. Phil was the last one to complete the feat, I think about 15 or 20 years ago. But it is a pretty well-known story that whoever's winning the week before the Masters usually has a tough time donning green or even playing well for that matter. But honestly, Mike, I don't think Cory Connors cares that much because he just loves this track and this course so much.
Yeah, $1.6 million at a 15 under par score to take it for the second time in a row now, right, at the Valero Texas Open in San Antonio.
Second time, yes. He won in 2019. And you'll remember, the reason why you'll remember this one in 2019 is because his wife was famously getting panned to from the NBC cameras as he was trying to win down the stretch. And she was quite drunk off the wine. And she became kind of a viral sensation for the week following for Cory's first win there in 2019. She's was completely sober the second time around, holding their baby girl. So it's funny how life comes at you fast in 4 years. But nonetheless, same course, same champion. Cory Connors, a winner 2 times over there in San Antonio.
That's right. I just want to shout out a couple other names from the list. In the top 5 was Matt Kuchar.
Yep, very reliable.
People, the ATM. He's getting hot at the right time. Let's just go ahead and say that right now.
Oh, boy.
Also, Ricky Fowler. He put up a 66 on Sunday to climb into a tie for 10th with Patrick Harrington from the Champions Tour.
How about
who's
that?
Decided to little warm up before Augusta as well.
Yeah, because remember, Patty Harrington went Bryson on us in the last year or two. He got all jacked up and he's lengthened and sped up his swing, and he's hitting bombs out there on the senior circuit. So he gives it a go every once in a while on the regular tour, and lo and behold, he can still contend at certain spots, and he proved it. That was cool to see. So yeah, watch out for Patty in the coming weeks and months as well.
The LPGA was in Los Angeles, and we had the second ever Chinese winner in LPGA Tour history, where Ruoning Yin took the W.
Good job on the pronunciation there.
Thank you. The DO Implant LA Open, and I think I said this last year, that is the oddest sponsor ever for any kind of event. And it's just kind of hilarious that it's an LPGA Tour event, maybe, but,
Hey, you got to get the sponsors how you can, right? And it's all good for our friends at the LPGA Tour, putting on a really good event in Los Angeles there. And yeah, it was a cool finish to see a debut winner. Georgia Hall came really close. She was in contention for most of the week. A really solid week. Saw a little coverage on primetime and nighttime golf on the Golf Channel. So always fun to see a new debut winner. And that's a big deal for a country like China that has obviously a massive population and growing golf population as well, too. So I'm sure that win is going to be celebrated 5 or 10-fold the way it is here in the States.
It really is. It's kind of incredible how much they celebrate everything over there. So good for her. Let's also talk about the ANWA. That's the Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Yes, the first look at Augusta. It's that first little look at the course, just to see how things are shaping up,
Yeah. But all eyes were on Rose Zhang, who just won. And there's really almost no other way to say it. She just won. She had a big lead. She kind of blew it, but she won in the playoff over Jenny Bay. And just everyone is like, oh my God, Rose Zhang, she should have a ticket to the Masters. She should be allowed to play this weekend.
Right, for real. She's got her ticket to turning pro any day now or any week now. It's going to happen at a moment's notice. We'll be talking about her in future LPGA Tour discussions for sure. She's been an unbelievably dominant amateur in the women's game in recent months and years, and does it again. Like you said, kind of faltered a little bit down the stretch, but still got it done in the playoff when it mattered. The overwhelming, resounding favorite heading in to win the ANWA, and she got it done in style. So impressive stuff. And again, Rose Zhang, you're going to get used to that, hearing that name for a long time to come in women's golf.
We were much more interested in the ANWA than that other golf event that happened to be going on this weekend. Which
there it
was
is, the LIV hate from Mike. Here it is.
LIV Orlando. Brooks Koepka won, and also the LIV golfers are media machine is pumping out that he's back in form. He's doing great, and look at how many LIV golfers were under par in their final round at LIV Orlando. I don't care because they don't care.
Yeah, guess what, Mike? I'm taking a sip of the Kool-Aid right now. I don't know what's gotten into me. I don't know. They put something in. I think they spiked my drink, the LIV Tour or something. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting a little delusional. But am I buying into the hype? I don't know why I am. Why all of a sudden do I think that a couple of good Brooks Koepka weeks in recent months on the LIV Tour are going to translate to major championship success at a major he hasn't won? He's contended at, but hasn't won. I don't know. He's sitting there in the odds around 50 to 60 to 1. Maybe someone to throw in the conversation, but it's just that it's that classic. How ready are these guys going to be? You and I are going to debate that all week, and I flip flop back and forth on exactly where I stand. But it's going to be fascinating to see not only him, but the rest of the 18 LIV Tour golfers that are going to be descending on Augusta National this week.
That's right. And a lot of players already descended on Augusta yesterday. That's Sunday. Tiger was there. Scotty
I've heard of him.
Was there. Yeah. So let's talk about Augusta. Let's talk about what, at least in my opinion, is the best major of the year. I think we might be on the same page there.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing, Mike. In recent years, you and I have been around golf dramas before, and we've seen storylines. Now, we've seen player storylines. We've seen peak Tiger versus Phil at major championships. I don't know if player-wise we've ever felt that, but drama, gossip, tabloid, story, entertainment-wise, has there ever been a more anticipated major championship in recent years? I'm doubting it.
I think, this is can the LIV guys compete, really?
$1 million question.
We'll get the true test here and see that they, they're already getting paid plenty of millions of dollars. I don't think they care about how much the question is worth. But we're here, and now we get to see it.
It's pride on the line for those guys who defected to the LIV Tour. They're coming back to play against their PGA cohorts for the first major championship stage since everything went down, essentially. And now here we are. We're looking at 18 LIV Tour golfers and the world's best in the PGA Tour all colliding. It's Augusta National. The course is looking beautiful already. Obviously, when you talk favorites, I'll talk a few LIV favorites. You can talk a few PGA Tour favorites. You mentioned Brooks Koepka. He's out there on the radar. I think the real guys on the radar in terms of LIV Tour golfers that could actually get it done and contend this week, which is pretty undeniable, are guys like Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, maybe a Joaquin Niemann who's had good form in recent few months. The list isn't super deep, but I still give those top tier guys a chance to play well here.
That's cute, Alex, because when you look at the best players in the world, it's Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Jon Rahm, and they are far and away the favorites to win the Masters this year. So I don't know how you can say a LIV guy has a chance, really.
Fair play. Nice little reminder there of what the world rankings look like. Yeah, it's admittedly a long shot that those guys could contend. Really, it's all like course familiarity and just hoping they can find some of that magic that they know from Masters in years past. But yeah, PGA Tour guys running deep right now. And I mean, just beyond that big three we're always talking about, Jordan Spieth itching for another green jacket, JT dying to win his first, Xander Schauffele gold medal winner, dying to win a big one. So there's a lot of depth out there on the tour as well too, and just an endless list of guys that love playing well here. So boy, the picks are going to be quite a hard list to put together this week for bettors out there.
Yeah, over under $1 on Tiger to contend on Sunday.
Yeah, I know. It's just like contend. So basically your dollar is it's like 2-1 odds that he'll finish in the top 20. Okay. So that would be my definition of contending. You can put that bet right now. You can bet $5 to win 10, basically, that he'll finish in the top 20. To do that, he's going to have to make the cut and play 2 solid rounds Thursday and Friday. And then from there, the real key, Mike, is how are holes 37 to 72 going to go for Tiger? Yeah. We saw last year at the Masters, he was able to get himself to the weekend, which was a very impressive feat with everything going on with his body and his life. But from there, everything just started shutting down on the weekend. So 37 to 72 would be the holes that would really be in question for a top 20 week like that for Tiger.
I just looking through the list too, every guy's here. I just want to shout out some names at the bottom of the barrel who have some chances here, because
I love you. You love digging deep here. I mean, for the
it's
odds.
Always fun to look and see who does Vegas say you should by no means put any money on whatsoever. Sandy Lyle, hands down, not the favorite.
No, he's not. What are his odds going off at these days? Let me pull the book up right now. Wow, I can't even find him in the initial drag through. Amazing.
It's plus 500,000.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Larry Mize plus 250. Mike Weir, former champion as well, plus 150. Our favorite golfer of all time, Vijay Singh, plus 150,000.
Hashtag deer antler spray, right?
Exactly. Phil's on this list too. LIV golfer poster boy, plus 20,000.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can tell that at least the odd makers have plucked out that there are a few LIV guys that they feel like could contend, but there's not a lot of love given on the odds to a lot of them. Patrick Reed, 75 to 1, Bryson, 125 to 1. Louis Oosthuizen's a guy that contends in majors a lot. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen a lot of great golf from him on the LIV Tour. He's 150 to 1 to win the Masters. So these are kind of householdish names that you see contend a lot, but they're not being given a lot of love from the odds perspective. So you got to be careful there with your flyer bets as well.
I also just feel like a good dollar bet maybe might be to put a buck down on Keegan Bradley. He's got long odds, but he's just been doing really well recently. He's just looking to put it all together for 4 rounds and win something. Of course, he maybe had a chance last year at in Boston, but just couldn't do it. So I just feel like Keegan Bradley, he's just like, he's knocking at the door trying to finish out his career strong. So
yeah, my other random dollar would be a guy who's just kind of floating right now, but he's due to win another big one. He's already won here. I think Hideki might be a little under the radar. He's probably about 40 or 45 to 1. And he hasn't been really lighting the world on fire, which is why you're not seeing him super high on the board. But you know how it is with these Masters champions coming back and winning a few years later. That pattern seems to reflect itself a lot.
He was right around the top 20 last week at the Valero. So his game's doesn't seem to be there right now, which is the only thing I'd say. But again, we see it from Tiger as well. These guys come into Augusta and they just play so much better all of a sudden. This course just fits them, or they just find something deep inside and they're able to put together some good rounds. So it's really, you just never know what's going to happen.
And by the way, if you want to go out there and live that dream, just for a few days at least, 85 to 1 odds on Tiger Woods to win this week at the Masters.
Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about your Run Your Pool article, right, and your prop bets, because
I got
prop
2. So yeah,
just make it more interesting.
Exactly. So check out runyourpool.com. I've got the Masters betting preview where you can see my full list of picks for everyone I like this week. That will go on Twitter Wednesday night at Course of Life 1 as well, too. But the other article I wrote was surrounding prop bets, which everyone loves come Masters week. We'll just run through a few fun ones for you. Odds of a hole-in-one, Mike. Thoughts? It's been happening a lot in recent years. I think 5 of the last 7 years there's been an ace. And it's been at 16 pretty much every time. Do you think we're going to get another ace this year in 2023?
Oh, definitely. I think you're due for at least one every year at 16. It's going to come from someone who's not in contention, but it's going to come.
Okay. The other fun one I was looking at as well, too, was course record. It's 63 by Nick Price and a little man named Greg Norman. You may have heard of him as well, too. Are there any 62s out there in the cards? I don't seem to think there are. There's a little bit of rain in the forecast for Augusta later this week, so the course could be a little softer, which is why I think the winning score might be a little lower than the odds makers might project. I'm not sure if I'm seeing a course record this week, though. What do you think about a 62?
I don't know. And the main reason why I don't know is because of 13. I mean, this is a layup hole now from what we're hearing. So
yeah, you saw that, right? That tee box is pinned all the way back there.
Back there. You can't cut the corner anymore. So this has really turned into, that's not an eagle hole. So I think that makes it so much harder to try to go for a 62.
Yeah, interesting. So check that out. I've got a bunch of different prop bets, top American, top European highlighted as well, too, at runyourpool.com. Excited for all things Masters Week, so be sure to check out the coverage there all week long.
Let's switch over to Tuned In, where we're sharing what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I watched the movie Tetris this weekend.
Wow, Tetris. As you say Tetris, I have visionary flashbacks of like a 3rd or 4th grade me on my Game Boy, just grinding out block after block on like a sunny afternoon on a summer day or something like that.
Yeah. Are you seeing blocks falling before your eyes right now as you try to move them around?
They start moving faster and faster. I swear that's how I grew my fast twitch muscles as a kid. Was just watching those blocks in ascending speed. They crescendo to an unbelievable speed, and I could keep up for a few moments. But I wouldn't call myself a great Tetris player. But what Tetris content were you consuming?
Well, I was watching the movie Tetris. It just came out on Apple TV. This is about how Tetris came to be a worldwide phenomenon and get licensed in the United States. It sounds real sexy, right? This is how Tetris became licensed in the United States, because it was created by a Russian. So they had to negotiate with the Russian, really it wasn't Russia at the time, it was the Soviet Union, with the Soviet communist government to gain the rights. Now, the story was highly fictionalized to make it more interesting, but it was actually quite good. I went into it thinking it would be not that great. And by the end of it, my wife and I were both quite engrossed in the film. It was quite good. Stars Taron Egerton.
Yes, Taron Egerton.
From Kingsman, actually directed by the same guy who did Kingsman. And it was quite good. It's on Apple TV. I would go ahead and say watch it if you have Apple TV.
Interesting. Yeah, the birth and creation of Tetris. Wow. And Russia. Wow. Good. Go figure. Maybe we could use them for future negotiations with Russia, smooth things over. Hopefully we can bring in those same guys in.
That'd be interesting.
I was tuned into something funny, which really just fell right on my lap this past week. The phenomena, obviously, surrounding Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
The queen of pop music right now. She's on tour.
You're a huge Swiftie. You're just all in on Taylor Swift.
I'm a pretty big Swiftie, admittedly. I wouldn't call myself a super fan, but I like her music. I've had the fortunate capability of seeing her live already about 5-6 years ago for a lot cheaper than concert tickets are going right now.
Yes.
So in lieu of paying an astronomical fee, you can also just hit the internet. And if you know the right places to look, there's just streams left and right of her concerts. So I've seen various clips of her in different cities and in Arlington, Texas this past weekend. A lot of hype around T Swift right now on tour. And I know you got some fans in your life as well too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the wife's nieces both went to the show in Arlington this weekend. In fact, they went to multiple of the shows this
Wow.
weekend in Arlington.
Big ballers.
Yeah, and they said it was awesome. It was 3-hour-long show without an intermission of just Taylor Swift, and then there was the opening act on top of that. So
okay, I give her credit for that.
Wow.
Shout out to T Swift for pouring out 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
3 hours, 3 nights in a row in Arlington. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, Jerry World. What a venue.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. So yeah, T Swift streams if you can't afford the tickets to go see her live and in person this summer.
All right, let's get into this week's guest. It's Masters Week, so that means we need to talk about art and beauty. So we're bringing on our resident golf artist, Linda Hartough. She's going to talk all things Augusta. All things Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, she's got an over 40-year relationship with the course. And so obviously on Masters Week, we get into her relationship with the course, how it first came to be. You'll be fascinated when you hear, and I love going through this with her every time, her first projects and where she first set foot on the terrain. We talk about the Augusta green, how she creates those unmistakably beautiful colors and textures of the course that we love. It's all things Augusta and an art-themed focus for Masters Week here.
That's right, and we'll get to that conversation with Linda in just a moment. But first, let's talk about our good friends at Desert Fox Golf. They've been our good friends for a long time now, Alex. I feel like it's been
over 4
forever.
years they've been partners this podcast, and we thank them for that always.
We do. And, you know, it's a partnership also out of the fact that we really do love their product. It's one of the first things they take out of my bag when I get to the course and get strapped onto that golf cart. It's the phone caddy. It holds your phone perfectly in place, so you don't need to worry about where it is down there in the dark abyss underneath the wheel, or if it falls out, or if it's on the seat and you leave it 3 holes behind and you don't know where it went.
I've done that.
Yeah.
So many times.
So the phone caddy from Desert Fox makes it so you don't need to do that. And, you know, the Augusta and the Masters always makes me think about, hey, it's time to start playing again if you haven't been playing again already. For most of the rest of the country, the snow is finally thawing and going away, and it's time to go play. So you can go play and get yourself the phone caddy so you can have your phone right there to take pictures of you to post to Instagram, to show yourself playing golf so that everyone else can see that you are enjoying life, and they are maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's how you roll. But the phone caddy lets you do that. And you can save 10% off your phone caddy with the promo code Course of Life. Comes in a range of colors. Got a patriotic line. They got cool stuff there. They've got more than just the phone caddy. They also have the Swing Aid tumbler, which is a great accessory as well. It comes with 10% more birdies. It makes you feel great as you're taking a sip out of that as well. So again, it's desertfoxgolf.com, also desertfoxproducts.com, promo code Course of Life to save 10%.
Next up on the tee, we have our resident golf artist and award-winning friend of the show, back to join us for a very special week on the golf calendar. It's Linda Hartough joining us. Linda, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Alex. Thank you.
It's great having you on again. And obviously, it's for a very special occasion because it's Masters Week. And there's few people maybe in the golf art world that know the course and the venue better than you. So we're going to go in depth on one of the greatest landscapes, if not the greatest landscape in golf. I'm curious because you have a very deep history with the club of what your first impressions were when you first arrived, and take us back to what that first trip to Augusta National was like for yourself.
Okay, well, this is indeed a very exciting week. Everybody looks forward to this week, I think. But yeah, the first time I went there was in 1984. And I came there because Bob Koepka and Dave Spencer, the pros at that time, were looking for an artist to do paintings and prints of the course. And so I went there, and of course they wanted the 13th hole, which is, an amazing hole, needless to say. But the first impression was, how the place literally glows with a kind of unearthly green, and the elevation, which you never see on TV. You can't really get that feeling unless you're there. But just the elevation of the course, the different changes is pretty outstanding, pretty change.
Yeah, it's very unique to see the drop off in the hill, and we'll get there. But first, that green you mentioned shows right through as soon as you see the front entrance to the club. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have the privilege of going down Magnolia Lane. Did you actually go down Magnolia Lane in your first or any of your visits there?
All of them, really, until much later. I was able to park, even during the Masters right next to the course. I was in the players' lot. So I got very up front and close in the early days. Magnolia Lane was always the way I went in.
I'm curious. It's one of your best sellers on Hartough.com. The front lawn and the clubhouse with the classic white tones. Tell everyone a little bit about the history regarding that building and what you love so much about that landscape. Kind of the first thing people see when they pull down that iconic Magnolia Lane drive.
Yeah, it's a very traditional, almost, I believe it was an antebellum plantation house. So it has very traditional design, architectural design, very distinctive. And it's the same from the front as from the back. So when you look at it from the back, it's pretty much exactly the same. And of course, they've added all kinds of buildings onto the side of it. But the original part was, a really classic old Southern house.
What's the architecture like inside for people who will maybe never set foot in there and wonder what it's like inside the actual structure itself?
Yeah, it's extremely traditional. There's a staircase as you come in with a grand hall, and it goes all the way to the back. And then there's rooms off the sides, and upstairs, the same thing. It's very, very traditional. I never did go up into the top part, the loft, but I've been on the first and second floor and all throughout.
Very cool. One of the neat things, and speaking of tradition and traditions around the tournament, is the annual Champions Dinner, which takes place in the clubhouse the Tuesday night before the Masters. So it's just happened as our audience is listening right now. And one of the big stories in golf, Linda, I don't know, did you get a chance to see Scotty Scheffler's Champions Dinner menu that he's rolled out for this year?
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
What was your highlight? Did you see what was your favorite part of the menu?
Oh, gosh.
He had the sliders, he had firecracker shrimp, the cookie skillet, steak and fish. He went for every side you could possibly imagine. It was quite a portfolio of a Texas feast.
Mostly I like steak, so I'd have to say steak's my favorite.
Well, what would you put for your Masters Champions Dinner if you were picking the menu? What would it be for everybody?
Steak, good old ribeyes, can't beat them. Maybe oysters, steak, oysters, shrimp are always good. I live in the Low Country here near Hilton Head.
You do, yeah.
Those are very traditional dishes around here.
Yeah, can't go wrong with surf and turf for sure. I'm going to save an oysters question for later as well too. Let's keep talking about the venue itself though. So specifically, kind of walking out the clubhouse and then placing yourself on the top of the hill was something very unique that I got to do last year when I finally made my first visit to Augusta National. I was there for the practice rounds, and the thing that really struck me is the way the property sets up. Now, for you as an artist, when you take a look at the top of the hill and the panorama from 10 to 18, the back nine, the first and second hole, how does that differ for you when you're painting a course with undulation versus a flatter course?
Well, I think you just I have to find certain aspects and lighting that really show off what I want you to see. In other words, if it's an elevation change, then I have to pick the lighting that's really going to show that up the best I can. And that's kind of difficult. It takes a lot of time and a lot of time being there, really. And I used to go there every year practically to take photographs because it was different every year. believe it or not.
Yeah, you told some stories about some long days for overseas Open Championship venues, and I believe England or Ireland or Scotland. I'm curious, was there a hole or a moment at Augusta where you were waiting an inordinate amount of time for the perfect lighting?
Always. But I would also go different times of the year. Like, for instance, I wanted to do the 18th hole, and I actually took those pictures in December. And they had to get a 16-foot ladder for me to climb up on to get those pictures for that image. And I had 4 people holding that ladder because it was windy and cold. So that was kind of memorable, sitting up there. And this was at dawn. So that was a very memorable setup for getting the right photo reference for that painting. I did that painting in 1988. And
Very cool.
Painted that similar scene a few years ago. I did looking up at the 18th from under that beautiful tree there, just that huge live oak that's just before the green. And I just really wanted to do that tree for whatever reason. So I was able to put that whole backdrop of the clubhouse and all the buildings with the 18th hole. So it was a different version of the 18th hole, but it was really fun to do. And a lot of people thought, well, that's kind of an odd vantage point, but you can't believe how many people have told me, they hit their ball right there underneath that tree.
Oh, that tree collects a lot of golf balls, even for the pros as well, too. And that's one of the last vantages that we see when we're watching the tournament down the stretch. So it lives in a lot of people's brains. So I think it's special for that reason, too.
Yeah, it was always special to me. I had a lot of different places that I would visit the same places every year. And if I couldn't get what I wanted, I'd come at a different time of the year when the light is different. And then paint it as though it was Masters time. So if there were azaleas, you put in the azaleas. But I did that on the 6th hole because I couldn't get a good lighting on that when I did the 6th hole. So again, I had to do that one in the wintertime to get a different angle of the sun hitting that green. So there's just all kinds of little things you can do to get what you want.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear about the process because people out there might think of it as just you flying in for the day and completing the work and flying out and there being nothing else to it, but there's so much more that goes on in the process. And I appreciate you detailing it to us. The one thing I wanted to ask about, which I hadn't asked about before, is specifically creating color schemes. When everyone thinks about Augusta National and the Masters, I think the 2 shades that pop out most are maybe the yellow from the flags, which is so iconic and the way it shines so bright, and obviously that bright, stringent, dark green that just seeps through every grain of grass on the course. What's the process like creating those colors for your paintings? I'm sure they're constantly evolving, but do you have, do you keep frame of references for like the best Augusta greens you've used in the past?
Well, kind of. Actually, what happens, we're talking about a 38-year span here. And I use a certain kind of green called Viridian, and that green can change. It can change from different manufacturers, different batches. So over the years, the palette has changed slightly. I still use the same Viridian, but I have used different manufacturers accordingly. And because I can't get that rich green without having the highest quality Viridian I can find.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
So
changed. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Unfortunately, I'd like it to, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like everything feels like it stays the same to our naked eye, but when you look at it through the perspective of years and years, it definitely does change a lot there. Again, it's hartough.com, HARTOUGH.com. Let's go through Amen Corner in the most special part of the course right here. For anyone who hasn't been there, I took the walk down the 10th hole, and when you get to 11, and then you turn the corner to the right at White Dogwood, they call it. What is it about that spot in the 11th hole, turning down, looking towards the water, that's so unique and makes it the start of maybe the most historic stretch of golf?
Yeah, I think down there when you start to descend down to that corner, there's just a different feeling of I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels differently. It's like a stadium kind of. And especially, during the Masters with all the crowds in the stands there, it's just amazing. But even when there's nobody there, which, most of the time when I was taking pictures, there wasn't anybody there hardly. And it just has a spacey feeling to it. I don't know how to explain it, but so I've done so many pictures from every angle in that whole area of the course. And I've done a lot of variations of different holes. Like I've painted the 13th hole 6 times and the 12th hole 4 times, 11th 4 times. So there's all kinds of different angles, morning, afternoon, I could keep painting those same areas forever, I think, with all the different angles I have.
Yeah, it's just like the subtle way, a golf course can change day to day. It's changing through your work as well, too. So a couple of things I wanted to ask about on 11, and I really don't even have the most intelligent way to pose the question to you, but I'm just wondering, how do you mirror the trees that hit on the reflection of the water on the pond on hole 11? That's in your work, I took note of that. And just how is that done? What's your process like for that piece specifically mirroring the trees off the water?
That is like, well, first of all, you have photo reference that helps, obviously, but you have to sort of think of it like the plane of the water is looking back up at the scene, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Like if you were in the water looking out and seeing the same scene. So it's a mirror image of what you're seeing, that shows up the most, I think, on that painting I did of the 16th hole with the pond in front of it.
Right. That's another great iconic water hazard on the course as well, too.
And I remember thinking of it that way. It was like, if I had any questions, I just sort of tried to look at it like I was looking out from the pond back, which is very weird, but nonetheless.
No, very cool. Thanks for explaining that. And then the flower backdrops on 12 and 13 are kind of what everyone knows. That's maybe the most popular landscape, is seeing what's behind those greens. From your perspective, with 40 years of experience of the course, what's the evolution been like of the landscaping and the flowers throughout the years at Amen Corner specifically?
Well, when I first went there wasn't as much rough as there is now. They didn't have the second cut. It was pretty much not there, but it adds interest to it. I like it. And when I was first there also, they were into all that striping, which I grew to not like. They would stripe everything.
Right.
And that just kind of drove me nuts, but they stopped doing that. I was very thankful for that.
It's back to a very clean cut look. You're right.
Yeah. It's very, very natural looking, even though it's otherworldly to start with, but it gave it a more natural feeling. It wasn't so busy with all those cross cuts and all that kind of stuff. It just, didn't help the scene at all. And they've made changes, subtle changes, but to them extremely important. And it was always very important that I would do the most updated version of the painting I was doing at that time. Certain trees were important. You had to make sure you got those in. And because I came at so many different times of all the years, the bloom would be different all the time. You wouldn't have everything blooming at once, pretty much ever. I mean, that was rare.
Yeah.
So, but because I had been there so many years, I had the bloom from everything, and I could, if I wanted to, I could put it in even though it wasn't in bloom when I was taking the pictures for that particular painting.
Well, yeah, I mean, regardless of bloom or in bloom, they look fascinating in your work, and I love the way you depict the course. For people who want to capture more of Augusta, in their home or office, what's the process look like for them, and where do they go, and what's available in terms of paintings that are your work right now?
Well, there's quite a lot of options for Augusta, as well as U.S. Open and British Open, and just all kinds of courses, but for the Augusta, you just, there's a whole section just on Augusta. So also during the tournament, we are going to be giving away a limited edition print of the 16th hole of Augusta if you guess the winner. So you have to sign up for the emails to get the guess the winner email, and then you just send in your pick and maybe you'll win the print.
Yeah, and you know me, I love a good wager as well too for a major championship, and I appreciate very much the Swilken bridge work that I have hanging in my man cave right now. So, Linda, it's always really cool to touch base with your work as well. I'm curious at Augusta specifically, what's your favorite back nine hole?
Yeah, I always love the 13th hole so much, but it's really hard. The 11th hole, that scene where you look across the 11th towards the 12th, that's another one that's just, it has everything in it. The 13th is just that's such an incredible backdrop. And I had the privilege to do a very large painting of that, which hangs in the men's grill room in the clubhouse. And that painting was 78 inches wide.
Wow.
With a 10-inch frame. It covers the whole back of the bar. So that was a lot of fun to do.
Very cool work. That's so neat to see where it still rests this day. Again, you got fans super excited now that we've walked everyone through Augusta National. What a beautiful course that's going to be on display this week. Linda Hartough, let's wrap with our 19th hole question, which you've already aced the last couple of times you've been on the show. So the edit I wanted to ask you about was oysters specifically. Are you strictly raw oysters, or are you okay with grilled or steamed oysters?
Oh, all of them are fine. This area, we did many oyster roasts where we roasted big piles of oysters over a fire. I like them steamed too, but I prefer the fire roasted or raw. I love them that way too.
Absolutely.
And this is such the best area to get them because this water and the sounds around here are still pretty darn clean. So
nice. Well, my co-host is in Savannah, so I'm going to plan a low country trip soon, and you'll have to get me the best suggestions. But love talking with you and connecting with you again. Linda Hartough, landscape artist, award-winning. Check out her Augusta work and everything else she has at hartough.com. And thanks again for being part of the podcast, Linda.
Well, thank you very much.
And we're back. Always great to have Linda back on the podcast and hearing an artist's perspective on a golf course and the landscape. Because, we just look at it and we go like, oh, I need to get the ball over the hill and over the bunker. And she's going to give us the beauty of it.
Detail, depth, the things that make Augusta shine. We talk about the flowers behind 12 and 13 and Amen Corner, just her favorite views. It's neat to hear her perspective and her relationship with the course. We've had other chats with Linda as well, too. So if you like that and you like hearing more about golf art, be sure to check out our archives and subscribe if you already hadn't right now. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, and pretty much everywhere else you're listening to podcasts. Just search for us at Course of Life. So thanks again for tuning in. And if you are enjoying this content or that interview, be sure to subscribe right now as well.
Let's talk baseball. It's opening weekend. How you feeling, Alex? How your Sox doing?
Absolutely horrible after opening day, but then we swept the weekend. We took 2 out of 3 from the O's, and now all of a sudden everything's sunny side up right now. So in the interim, the Red Sox have the benefit of a crappy schedule to start off the season. So we're going to get fake good. And I could get annoying to start the season because it's going to be so fake good, but I'm going to make it feel so real that I'm just going to be breathing down your back here as your Yankees work through all your injury problems right now.
I'm not aware of a lot of injury problems for the Yankees right now, but then again, we're only 3 games in and I don't pay attention quite yet. But we are 2-1, so, Judge got a home run. Stanton got a home run, I think. We're hitting, it's Bronx Bombers. We're bombing it out there. It's happening.
No, the one thing I can tell with the rules, I don't know what you see in the pitch clock and the new rules in effect, is that offense is definitely going to excel a lot more. These new rules seem to be working against the pitcher's ability to dominate and maintain kind of the pace and rhythm of their outing. And it's a very hitter-centric, so you're seeing a lot of teams put up a lot more runs. So if nothing else, it's going to lead to a lot more offense, and we're seeing that in the AL East just as a small sample size.
Let's look ahead, Alex, to Thursday. And everyone out there is going like, what are you guys talking about? It's the Frozen Four. Yeah. This Thursday.
It is the start of the Masters, but yes, it's also the Frozen Four.
It's the Frozen Four. We talk about the Frozen Four, which is the college ice hockey tournament, because our Quinnipiac Bobcats, the overall number 2 seed, are in it to win it. And if they win Thursday, we might be going on Saturday to the national championship game in Tampa.
Non-committally, we might be going. Yeah. Yes.
It's a good chance. It's 75% chance or more, I think, that we're going to go. So
obviously got to take care of business Thursday night against Michigan. The other semifinal is Minnesota against Boston University. All the experts seem to think it's an all Big Ten final, but I know we have other plans. Both times the Bobcats have gotten to the Frozen Four in the last decade. They've won this semifinal and gotten to the final. So if nothing else, I like our vibes and chances Thursday night on that alone. So I think we're on ESPN2 or news or something like that, but national TV for the Bobcats Thursday night.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I got my Frozen 4 t-shirt in the mail over the weekend, so I'm going to be sporting that on Thursday, most likely.
Mr. Merch.
I mean, look, it's when you have an opportunity to get yourself a Final Four Frozen 4 t-shirt for your school, especially when you go to a school like Quinnipiac, we'll be in the Frozen 4 again, but we're not Alabama. We're not UCLA. We're not Duke.
The New England Patriots.
UConn, the New York Yankees.
We got to take our wins as valuably as we can every time.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing. So we'll see whether next week we talk college hockey or whether we don't talk college hockey. That'll let you know what happened in the game if you're not paying attention. For now, though, that's hashtag AlwaysEndWithFood.
Yes, our food segment to end every Course of Life podcast episode. And I just realized we're going to be covering 4 holidays right now in about the next 5 minutes here for Always End with Food. Okay. So first off, I got to start by saying I got on April Fool's by a food brand.
Yeah, you did.
I got real hard. It was April Fool's morning. I was checking my emails as the reason. I was very ready to be pranked on Twitter or Instagram, so no one was going to get me there. But I got an email from Tiff Street. Shout out to Tiff Street's amazing, warm, fresh cookies here in Austin, Texas, and expanding soon to a city near you. They do everything great. And they put out an email saying they were coming out with canned cocktails. And there was just this disgusting gif of cookie crumbles falling out of like a canned cocktail. And I actually thought it was real for an hour or two until you replied back to the email. And you just you buried me so quickly in 5 or 6 words. And I was got on April Fool's officially.
I didn't even know when you sent it to me. I didn't think much of it because I didn't realize what the day was until a couple hours later. I was like, did he realize there was April Fool's? Is he sending this to me because he thinks it's an April Fool's joke? But when I reread your email, I was like, no, he thinks this is legit.
I did, very much so. Holiday number 2 is Masters Week.
Yes.
Quick food updates to the Augusta National menu. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the 2 new additions. First one, Mike, is a chicken salad sandwich on honey wheat bread. What are your thoughts?
That sounds pretty good. It's what, $2.50 probably? So
$3, real pricey, yeah. $3. And then for $2, nice little side dish, you can get some Southern cheese straws. Now, I don't quite know what these are. I haven't seen a good photo of them yet this week, but I think they're those little cheesy cracker, kind of straw shaped crackers that are spun, a little bit breadstick looking.
Exactly.
You can get those for $2.
So they're a big thing down here in Georgia, and I am going. People that are paying attention to this and listening to this are going to be flabbergasted by what I say next. I've lived here now for 7-8 years. I have never had a cheese straw.
Oh, no. So if anyone's on the grounds and they get the cheese straws, I'd love a review. He's at MWRINC. I'm at Course of Life 1 on Twitter. I'd love to see what they look like as well, too. And I'll let you do the other two holidays. We got Easter and we got Passover on deck.
Before we do that, I just have to bring up, too, because I know you missed it last year at Augusta when you went for that practice round. The peach ice cream sandwich is back.
Oh, yeah. I did see that, too. Man, I did miss that. Yeah.
So,
man, I only got 4 or 5 hours at Augusta, but that is one of the few things I'm still thinking about is missing the peach ice cream. So hopefully everyone out there gets to enjoy it as well.
That's right. Like I said, this weekend, we will really this weekend and this weekend, we have 2 more holidays. Passover starts on Wednesday evening, and that means no bread, no leavened bread products at all for us Jews. Let's celebrate and actually do that. I'm a horrible Jew. I don't do that because have you ever tried to go 7 days without any leavened bread product? It's impossible.
Yeah, it's my January diet. It's brutal. It's horrible.
It's just I can't do it. I can't do it because I also work in a bakery. And then there's Easter this weekend as well. And that means in the bakery we're doing hot cross buns and we're doing that sort of thing.
Ooh,
so the question is,
great.
if we're home this weekend and I'm cooking, because that's an if right now, depending on what happens Thursday evening. Yeah. The question is, am I going to do a more Eastery food cooking, or am I going to do a more Passover food cooking? I traditionally do Passover, and I don't really know what an Easter dinner is because I don't celebrate Easter. So
Easter dinner is basically a Thanksgiving dinner, but switch the turkey for ham.
Okay.
That's what an Easter dinner is, really, when it all boils down to it. We kind of remix it, Mike. And then this Sunday, we've also got an Easter Masters combo as well, too. So there's food holidays galore going on. It's just
a lot going on. That's the other problem is that Sunday is Sunday at Augusta. I can't be in the kitchen cooking and watching Augusta. I can't do both at the same time here.
Yeah, we're going in the morning. I'm doing ham sandwiches in the oven just like last year because that was a big hit here at home. We're making some queso. I think my dad says he wants to do deviled eggs. He's got some sort of obsession with deviled eggs, so he's bringing those over. But yeah, those are all things we're gonna need those ready by midday because when those final groups tee off, Mike, I'm gone for 5 hours.
I mean, Easter brunch is probably that's a good. I'm all in on Easter brunch. I'm all in on brunch no matter what the occasion. So
yeah. Definitely is an Easter brunch vibe kind of year. Everyone enjoy it out there. A fantastic food week and golf week to boot. Again, for Mike, I'm Alex. Thanks for tuning into the Course of Life. We'll see you next week.